So and now we're talking about your record label, Indiscover Orange Lounge, and they put together a lot of very cool album packages and stuff and contests. Where you're designing the T-shirt for this new package. What was it
hmm
like having the fan interaction? Designing a T-shirt.
It was awesome. It was like I thought there were so many talented people that were bringing their ideas to the fore. It was really hard to choose, actually. I wish I could have picked a bunch, but it was cool. I'll do that again, I think. I think it's cool kind of involving the fans in that way because there's just I have so many. I've noticed I have a lot of creative fans, really creative. Some of them are so it's like crazy. I love their ideas, so I thought it was cool.
So, and also for the contest, you talked about maybe doing a songwriting thing. People would maybe write a song and you would record it in the studio or something like that. You thought that was a cool idea. And
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you don't really know. Um, it just depends, you know. I'm totally open to everything like that, but you also, when you're like, when you're out in the public, you have to be careful sometimes what you say because you never know. You could say that you could write a song with a fan, but the fan can end up being someone really scary who's at your house. It's like a situation that, so there's a fine line between being, but like if it was done in like a professional format, or if there was like if Indiscover put on like some kind of
right,
contest or something, I
that's
think
what
that
I'm
would be
saying, like
really
a
cool.
contest. I'm talking about it like,
Yeah, I would think, yeah,
like how can we set that up? Because
I know.
I mean, I'm not a good artist. I couldn't do the shirts, but I mean, a lot of people were interested in my songwriting. So I think that'd
hmm
be somehow maybe Indiscover will hear this and think about doing something as long as you're up.
Yeah, no, I'll mention it to them. I think that would be cool
Yeah. All right,
for sure.
so now we're gonna get into talking about Reloaded, of course. So how much were you really actually involved in the process of the remixing? Were you in the studio? Did you have ideas? Did demo
I
come to
was in,
you?
yeah, demo. I was in the studio a bit, but he kind of had an idea from the top of what he wanted to do with it, and I wanted to, I already kind of like was so involved in the production of the original Voodoo,
Hmm.
and I had such strong feelings about the way that the song should go. I don't think it would have been smart for me to be completely involved, but I was in the studio a couple times going through what he's doing and kind of guiding him, especially songs like Boogie Love and stuff that was a little bit um, different. He was curious as to where I'd want the songs to go.
Hmm.
Um, but no, it's pretty much like demos. It's pretty much his. It's like it's kind of his thing. Like me and Bren wrote the songs, and the structure of the songs and like the feel of them are obviously still kind of similar. But I think it's cool that he kind of put his own spin on it completely. I didn't want to be too involved.
Hmm. Okay, and how long did it take from start to finish, approximately, to do this whole project?
I think it was like 3.5 months.
Okay.
hmm
Um, and now when we're talking about the choruses and sampling from Reloaded and the rap, I think another thing that'd be cool is possibly getting Drake to do something because
That
you're
would
the
be awesome.
Canadian family. I know Steven Stone, he was on Degrassi, so
hmm
we could get something
Um,
like that. And
I
then,
would love that. I actually was thinking I would love to find a way to get him the CD too. Um, I that's something I've thought about actually. I thought about that for Trip Around the World specifically. I thought that the chorus could be a cool sample,
yeah,
but but that's just I have no idea. That's just coming from my own
and then of
little
course,
fantasy land.
Nelly Furtado gave you a lot of praise on Twitter for your songs. What
hmm
about doing? I mean, getting featured on one of her songs. I mean, her husband did remix the album.
I would love that. I would love that. I'm actually going to be seeing demo. I'll mention this is some good ideas. I'll say it didn't come from me. It came from you,
All right.
DJ General. But no, that's a great idea. I think that I mean, it's like the whole thing, even just the fact that she tweeted and helped out with the album, I think was like,
Yeah.
that's a pretty cool thing to do. She's got such a huge fan base and
Hmm.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah. And plus,
Cool.
you're both Canadian, so
Yeah,
very
holding it
cool.
down in
Yeah.
Canada.
So
Awesome.
if you had a huge budget on this album for any song, if even counting if you wanted to redo the one of the videos I already did, if you had unlimited budget for any one song, what song would you do the video for, and how would it be outrageous? Like, what would you use the money on?
Oh my goodness. Um, I'd probably use it on Voodoo
Cool.
and do something. I don't know. I'd have to think about it, but I don't always think there needs to be a huge budget to make something great.
Hmm.
But I would rather take the budget I had and be able to go on tour
Good
than like
answer.
do a great video. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd
Yep.
rather take that money and tour and
Yep.
do Voodoo Live and have someone film it, and that can be the video.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So now on Reloaded, the order of the songs are in a different order. I don't know if that's just because, or do they have a different meaning now that they've been remixed?
They do have a different meaning. Now that they've been remixed, I feel like each song kind of goes into each other differently. So when we came up with the list of the songs, like the track list,
Mhm.
we just wanted to do the best, like kind of make the best choice for what would make the best sounding album from top to finish. So it was different. Like Voodoo, we kind of put it together. Like we wrote certain songs specifically as like two together, and it was kind of like this journey.
Hmm.
Where Reloaded, it's like a different journey. It's
Hmm.
like yeah, and I think it's kind of cool to just change it up a bit.
Hmm. So on the opening track, Voodoo is the opening track for the original album and the remix. But the album is now just called Reloaded, so I'm assuming that Voodoo was obviously the central track of the original album. Now it's just called Reloaded. So is there a central track in this album?
Um, is there like sorry?
Well, because the original album was named Voodoo, so was
Right.
Voodoo the central track for the original album, right?
The well, actually, we didn't know the album title until the very end, and Voodoo was one of the last songs that we wrote for the record. It actually was the last song that we wrote for the
Hmm.
record. We didn't have an album title. We were just kind of like, and we wrote it, and then we went. I just knew Voodoo was like Trip Around the World, and all the songs were very New Orleans to me, and like they had a lot of soul, and I loved that. There was something kind of magic about it. And then we wrote Voodoo, and it was so unexpected.
Hmm. So now this one's called Reloaded, not obviously a track title, just because, trying to give it a clever name, or is there a deeper meaning behind that, or?
Reload is just kind of like, I don't know, it sounded kind of like Western to me. Like it's just reloaded. And I didn't want to, it's not a whole, I didn't want to just name it something different. I wanted to keep it the same so people knew that it was a remix. And I like how it's like the Reloaded collection. I
Hmm.
think that's cool.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they're just kind of vamped up a little bit.
Okay.
Reloaded.
I think one of the most popular things I've read about the track Voodoo is the bridge of the song is a lot of people's one of their favorite pieces of music from you. Do you feel the same way? Do you think that's a really big piece of music, or?
Wow, that's a really cool thing to hear. I didn't know
Yeah,
that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that came from like that definitely came from my soul.
mhm. So while we're talking about the bridge, what is the most, the essential, all the parts of the song are essential, but if you had to pick like a chorus, a bridge, the verse, the lyrics, the vocals, I mean, obviously you can't have a song without all of them, but just one, what do you think is the most essential?
Um, That's hard. That's hard to answer. I don't know if there's the
Or
most.
what is your most favorite thing to do? Do you like doing the vocals, the
I love
lyrics, the
writing
bridges?
verses. I love writing verses. I could write a verse. I just love them. I could just bring them out any time of the day. Choruses are harder for me. I try to avoid the bombastic chorus, which is what everyone wants.
Hmm.
And I love writing bridges too. So bridges and verses. If it were up to me, there'd be no chorus. It'd just be all verse, bridge, verse.
So look at those eyes, the second track on Reloaded. A lot of people felt that the original one might sort of fit in place on a Twilight soundtrack. I don't know if you would agree with that. It's got kind of that,
Yeah, I would
you know,
love that. I always
yeah.
felt like that'd be cool to get my song in the Twilight movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I guess the meaning of the song you said represents survival and strength.
It does, yeah, hugely.
Hmm.
A lot of the songs that represent that for me.
And now we have this is the second single, and I guess you're working on the video soon, but it's been delayed for the weather.
Yeah, it's gonna be shot in May, end of May.
Okay. And then the third track, we have Boogie Love, the original one, a very fun track, and you changed it up to give it sort of a 70s vibe. Where'd you get
Hmm.
the idea to do that?
It was just kind of a funky beat that we came up with and wanted to, um, yeah, we just kind of, um, it just kind of was a different side of us that day. We were just having fun writing and having a good time, and it just kind of came to be. There wasn't too much thought into it. We just kind of wanted a throwback song on. We wanted like kind of a party song for the record.
Hmm. Now, one thing a lot of people were noticing is that the spelling of Boogie Love is taken out of the reloaded version. Is like, the BOOG, what I'm talking about?
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a choice. That was Demo's choice.
yeah, they were just wondering, it did not fit or just got rid
Oh
of it?
no, I mean that's stuff that they could add. I'm not sure. That's just like artistic decisions from
Hmm.
Demo's perspective, and
Hmm.
I didn't want to get too in the way of that stuff.
Yeah. And then, of course, the video is filled with instant star people. What was it like being back together with, all them doing a video, having fun?
It was so awesome. That's why I did it. It's because in Toronto, the people I know are the people I worked with, and
Mhm.
it was so much fun. They're great friends, and it was really sweet of them to come out and support for the day.
So the next track we have a little bit, and a lot of people consider that another fun song. I think it's one of the more pop songs on the original album, at least. And then now
Hmm.
on the Reloaded album, it's more of a kind of shift to a rock vibe.
Yeah, it is
Mhm.
actually. I like that though. I think a little bit's a pretty cool pop song. I think it can go anywhere. Like I think it can go less or it can go more. That's one of my favorite songs on the record, actually.
What's the meaning of that song? 'Cause a lot of people had different ideas. If you want to say what the meaning is.
No, it's pretty simple. It's like all I ever needed was a little bit of love. That's
Mhm.
all. I don't need anything more. You don't need gifts. You just need a little bit of love goes a long way.
Mhm.
Just a little bit of love.
So the next track, Mr. Jones, is
Hmm.
very an original, very funky song. A lot of people were commenting on that one about the piranha lyric. They thought that was really interesting and just, I don't know, a lot of people really enjoyed that lyric for some reason. What exactly, I don't know, how did you come up with just using a piranha like that?
I that was just a I just thought it was kind of a fun way to I thought it just piranhas are very vicious little creatures. I think it's like a good visual, and it's kind of I think it's cool. I love like Disney music, and I think it's fun to kind of bring in characters when I can, stuff like that. So
And on the Reloaded version, it sort of starts off with like a electro pop type thing. Kind of reminds me, the Mike Posner song "Cooler Than Me." It kind of
yeah.
kind of reminded me like that in a way. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think that could be a good one definitely for radio too.
Thank you.